Hey guys, it's Farhan from Reading Web Agency here, and I'm really excited today because I've got a treat for you guys. We have an interview with a local SEO expert. So I know a lot of you guys are small business owners, local business owners in the UK, or maybe you're people that want to start your own local SEO agency. Well, here I've got a really, really good friend and mentor of mine. He owns his own local SEO course. He's been doing this for years. He knows how to succeed in the SEO space. Um, so I'm happy to introduce you guys to Gabriel of local SEO Shuriken. And today we're just going to ask him a few common questions that a lot of people have about SEO. So
Sure. Thanks for having me, and I'm excited to talk about this stuff.
nice one, nice one. How's it going, man? You good?
Holiday rush. It's hectic here,
Holiday rush. Yeah. Well, I guess I've noticed in December, not too many people are buying SEO services at the moment.
No, I
Are
mean
they?
more personal with Christmas shopping and you know how
Okay,
that
okay,
is.
yeah.
It's all the holiday stuff. So
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. All right. So, shall we kick it off with the questions, or you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
sure, we could dive right into questions. I mean,
Yeah.
all I'll say is my brand name's up because Furhan's cool recording thing right there, so you can go check that out. But that's all I'll say, and we could just dive in.
Cool, cool, cool. All right. No worries, man. So, we got the first question here, and it's quite an interesting one. And I think a lot of people resonate with this. And that is, many small businesses have limited time and budget for SEO. Now, if a local business owner could only focus on 3 activities per month, what would you recommend they prioritize and why?
Number one, fully optimize the Google My Business listing. So if that's not done, that needs to be your number one priority, where everything needs to be filled out, everything needs to be fully optimized. You need to have things like all the services that you offer, right? That has to all be filled into that listing. So it's really, really important that you fill. I know it sounds so boring, right? Oh, I'm just doing data entry. But the more things you fill in, the more, keywords and the more phrases you have that are relevant to what you do and the more services that you fill out, the more searches you're going to show up for over time. And so this, for the most part, is a one-time thing that once done checks off a lot of boxes in terms of you getting visibility on maps and things like that. So that's the first thing, and it's really, really important. The second thing is that you get reviews. And me and Farhan, we've talked a lot about this, but reviews are incredibly, incredibly important. And so if you can create some sort of system where reviews are coming in automatically, or you're kind of gently, nudging customers to do that, that's incredibly, incredibly important. And so things like, having a leave review sheet with a QR code and instructions, having that be something that's printed out, ready to go, and get your clients, or if you're a business owner, have this be a part of your process where it becomes habit, where it becomes just kind of automatic for you and your team, so that when you hand a customer a receipt or an invoice, this gets stapled to it, or this gets taped to it, or just handed with it, right? It doesn't matter. But by having that, the review box is now kind of checked off for you, at least in part, right? And so now you have those reviews coming in, because the number one most important local SEO signal, and this has been this way for a very long time, is reviews. Like, I've seen so many examples, I've shown students so many examples, we've seen it in the course time and time again when we've looked at and we've done SEO analysis before. I don't know if analysis is a word, or I think it is. But the point
I
is,
think
right,
so,
is
yeah.
that
Analyses.
the way I talk is how I'm like writing a blog post. So I stopped when I was typing that out in my head. But no, so you really need to make sure that you have that, because it's the most important thing. So those are the top two. So that's number two. Number three is, once you have Google My Business taken care of, once you have reviews taken care of, so you've got those two things, the next thing you need to be doing is building authority in some way and constantly creating content. And I'm going to bundle, because it's really hard to say top three because there's obviously more things. So I'm going to kind of bundle things together for number three, which is consistently publishing different formats and types of content. So blog posts, photos to Google My Business, right? Because photos count as content, right? Doing YouTube interviews like we're doing right now, right? Have a schedule where a certain amount of time is dedicated to content, because the internet is built on content. Content is the backbone of marketing. And so you need to make sure that you are, consistently checking off that content box and that you're spending a decent percentage of your time on that. Now, to quickly kind of, because people, I don't know if this is one of your questions. I can't remember. I don't think it is. It might be. But how much time should you spend on this stuff per day? You can get away with, and this is what people don't realize, because I've heard so many, business owners, I don't have time for it, right? You can get away with an hour a day, right? Or an hour even every other day, as long as you're doing the right things. And so when you start to prioritize things the right way, that's when things get taken care of and you don't have to worry about it. It's not stressful anymore. I digress.
All right, so that's good. So that is reviews, fill out your Google My Business profile, and make sure you have lots of content to build authority. Yeah, good. Cool. That was a good answer. Let's move on to the second question. So the second question that has come in is, right, if you're a small local business, can you compete against the major chains? If I run a burger shop, can I out SEO McDonald's? That's the question.
Of course you can, right? I noticed that a lot of SEO questions that people ask in the course, and I think you've probably seen this with some of the Facebook posts people are making, is that people doubt themselves. They like to, it's almost like their brain's trying to look for the reason why they can't succeed. So that, I don't know if it's like a defense mechanism or if it's that they're like scared of failing. But the reality is, you always have a chance provided you do the right stuff and you put enough effort in. If you think about it, yes, because to answer the question of, can you compete against a big business? The answer is always yes, because when you're looking at, proximity and stuff like that, you might be closer to other, areas of your town, your city, your suburbs, whatever, than a big box store. And part of Google Maps is literally just relevance matching. Like I've seen, even if you don't do optimizations, if there's no one else near you, you're going to show up, right? So there always is a way. And obviously optimization can help with this, but also Google, and we've talked about this off interview a little bit in the past about how, Google has been recently hit with lawsuits and things like that, where they're being forced to split up Google. Google's been officially coined a monopoly, to no one's surprise ever. And I think part of that is because, they are kind of just giving certain people a chance. And everyone's talking about the kind of enshittification of Google now. And I think Google's trying to give small businesses a chance so that they don't get in trouble. So you'll see that is that, if you're a small business, you still have a chance because Google will show you, provided that you do the right things.
Yeah, that's an excellent answer, man. And I think you're right. A lot of people do self-doubt themselves. And what's it called? I've seen myself, you've seen yourself, how easy it is just to rank locally. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. That's surprisingly simple. I just think Google must have something in their algorithm where they're like, if we know you're a local business, we're going to give you a nice little boost. I would like to talk more about this. However, we got more questions. So by the way, apologies if it feels like we're rushing through these. It's just because my laptop battery is dying right now.
I know. We have a short interview, and the problem is my answers too. I'm trying to be careful because I can go off on long tangents and get into other things. So I'm trying to keep it,
No, I love it, man. I love it. To be honest, I'd be so happy if you came back. We could do like a 3 hour interview for sure, man.
Oh, hell yeah, man. That'd be awesome.
All right, let's see. What's the third question? Okay. This is a really good one. So a lot of small business owners, if you're a small business owner, you're a sole trader, someone sends an email in your bot inbox, and they're like, we can do your SEO for $200 a month. Maybe it's some random guy from India. You don't know who it is. The question is, a lot of small business owners are being approached by overseas SEO companies. promising first page rankings for $200 a month. How can a business owner distinguish between legitimate services and scams? And what should they realistically expect to invest for quality SEO?
I'm glad you asked that because I feel very strongly about this. I've had people really disagree with what I'm about to say before. So I'm going to say two things. First of all, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If the average rate of good quality SEO services that, from reputable places around you that have a lot of like good reviews, that have people saying they've had a good experience with this place, if you're seeing similar prices for like $1,000, $2,000, $500, whatever, and then you have $200 over here, well, you have to stop and ask, why is this $200? Right? So that's the first thing. The second thing, and this is the thing that people disagree with me with, and this is something I've said for a long time, and people have downvoted me on Reddit, put the laughing emoji on Facebook, but I'm going to say it because I believe this. If someone is good at inbound marketing and they have to do outbound marketing to get you to find out about them, they're probably not good at their craft. Good SEOs will know how to show up for when you're looking for them. Whereas bad SEOs are people that just want to make money, that just want to resell white label service where they don't really care about your results, where you're just a number to them, are going to spam as many businesses, as many email addresses as they can. And so you have to ask yourself, right? Why is this person reaching out to me? Good SEOs are the ones that you're going to find when you look up best SEO or SEO services near me, where they're showing up first, because that's a literal sign that they're good at their craft if they're showing up for that. Because, and this is something you only know once you do SEO, trying to outrank other SEOs at SEO is one of the hardest things to do. So if that person is showing up first in Google Maps, that means that they're the best of the best.
So what you're really trying to say is, if you need someone to do your SEO, you should Google them. And if they come up at the top, they're good at what they do.
Well, don't Google their company, because anyone can rank for brand name. Google SEO, city name, SEO, area name, SEO near me, or best SEOs. Now, keep in mind, though, that the best are going to charge more. But you're going to get that value because they've already proven themselves just by showing up number one for that search alone.
There you go. That's a good answer. And just for anyone listening who doesn't know what inbound and outbound marketing is, would you be able to just quickly explain that?
Sure. So I'm getting deja vu. I think I just talked about this. I have a reaction video I'm uploading later tonight, and I just reacted to someone where I mentioned this. So this is very, very, very kind of surreal. But inbound marketing is when a prospect is looking for you or looking for a service or a product, whereas outbound marketing is you making yourself known to prospects. So you can kind of split this. It's pretty simple. Inbound marketing are things like SEO, right? Things like pay-per-click advertising, although that can be sometimes outbound. Whereas outbound marketing is things like cold calls, right? Things like cold emails, right? Things like a billboard on the highway, right? So that's kind of the split. Inbound marketing is great because it's not as intrusive as outbound marketing, because people are already looking for it, so they obviously don't mind you showing up. And we live in a weird time where people are getting more and more upset at ads and promotions. I've noticed that. So there's advantages to being good at both. Now, to be clear, and this is what I'm echoing what I'm saying in that action video that's coming up. But a good business is going to have both those strategies going on at the same time. So it's a sign that someone's really good at marketing or is an established business that's doing well is the fact that they have both inbound and outbound marketing both going on for them. Because ideally you want to, and this is kind of doesn't really pertain to this interview, but just as a general thing for people listening, you want to never put your eggs in one basket. You always want to be appearing both outbound and inbound.
That's interesting. This is going in a really good direction. Oh man, I wish I could explore it more. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. You always want to like have like multi-channel marketing basically. Um, and actually, I still get most of my customers through, even though I'm supposed to be doing SEO, I get most of my customers through outbound marketing.
Whatever
Man,
works, whatever works,
whatever,
you know?
whatever works. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's see. But it's because it's like you said, right? Like it's really hard to rank for an SEO agency, but it's dead easy if you like trying to rank an electrician. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
sometimes the SEO is thinking, is it worth the effort? Okay, let's see what the next question is. But yeah, just to summarize, you're saying, look, if someone's cold calling you or cold emailing you, don't go for them. Go to Google, look for a local SEO in your city, search SEO consultant in whatever. See, you're in like Buffalo or Reading or whatever. See if they come up. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. So let's see what's the next question. To be honest, this question's not really as interesting, but we can still ask it. Okay, so you're a small business with a tight budget. How would you recommend balancing investment between Google Ads and organic SEO? So this is really about PPC, which we call pay per click. So running ads on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or even Google versus investing in SEO. What should a small
So
business invest in?
so here's kind of the thing, and that this is something people have to understand. And SEOs, we don't say this, and I know so many people who just don't, I want to say, aren't honest with people, but don't really genuinely have their best intentions when it comes to their clients at heart. I've seen people like this. I'm sure you've run into them too, where sometimes SEO isn't the answer. And for some reason, so many SEOs can't admit that, but it's true, right? And so the thing that you have to understand is that if you're a startup or you're already money's tight and you're not really doing well, SEO is something that takes time, right? The age old, kind of average estimate everyone says is, oh, it takes 6 months to a year to start seeing results. And so you have to ask yourself, can I afford 6 months to a year of whatever the price is that you're paying in SEO or the time that you're investing yourself? So that could be, $500 a month times 12. That's $5,000. Can you spend that money to see results in a year? Because while SEO, and this is the thing that I love about SEO, is that the effort, energy, time, resources that you put into it today continues to pay off like for months, years down the line. So while it is a huge upfront investment, it's something that is going to continue to bring you profit and revenue over time. So it's absolutely worth it. But are you in a position where you can afford to be patient to get this? So generally, if money is really, really tight, and you have to be careful with pay per click too, right? If you're in that situation, because as we all know, those of us who have experienced a pay per click, if you don't know what you're doing, you can burn money, right? And so, it's one of those things where it's tough. I think in that situation, if you have the money to have someone who knows what they're doing manage your pay per click campaign, and you have the money for the pay per click campaign, because those are two different things usually, right? With how most service providers do it, I say go for pay per click until you have more revenue and profit coming in that you can go ahead and invest to create something more long term in terms of traffic coming in over time consistently.
There
Otherwise,
you go.
if you're in a better position and none of this matters or money's not tight, or you do have a small budget for just SEO, so that's kind of different. I just wanted to kind of clarify that. Then yeah, absolutely go for it. But just be aware that if money's tight and you're expecting this to make you more money, it probably isn't going to happen right away.
There you go. So if you don't have enough money, like you don't have enough runway for like 2-3 months, stay away from SEO. You need to get customers through the door tomorrow. You got to start advertising your services, pretty much.
And it's not that SEO is bad. Again, this stuff works, but it's
Mhm.
just the reality of how much time is it going to take and things like that.
Yeah, because you know you can pay Google to put you on the top of page one tomorrow, and they'll take what, like £3-5 for certain queries, um it's so, or do you want to wait 5 months, do the SEO thing, you know but like you said, that stuff is worth it, because what once you've paid for SEO, it's free, right? But it just takes a long time to get there.
Well, and the other thing I want to mention is that the return on investment with SEO is like 10x plus that of pay-per-click, because content you put
Oh,
out that brings, because this is the example, people don't get it until they see the bigger picture, which is that if you have a piece of content, right? And you probably heard this ramble before because you're in the courses, but if you have a piece of content, right, and it brings in 100 visitors per month, whatever, it's 100 visitors per month, because when I say that, that's the reaction people have. Oh, it's just 100 visitors, right? Because most people have a 1% conversion rate, so that doesn't really seem that appealing to them. But what they're not realizing is that's 1,200 visitors a year. And then something happens that's magical, that I've coined the content compounding effect, which is that let's say you have 4 more pieces of content. Well, each piece of content is bringing in 100 visitors a month. So now you have 500 visitors a month, right? Well, not exactly, because what happened is now, because we have more content, the authority of the other pieces of content have grown as we've added new content. So now maybe each piece of content brings in 150 visitors a month. And so you can quickly start to see how the snowball is going to start to take effect. And again, these are visitors that are going to come in month after month for a long time. Now, this is a very generalized example. There's a lot of exceptions to this, and not every piece of content is going to get the exact same amount of visitors. Not every piece of content is a winner. But once you understand the kind of general content compounding effect rule, you start to see why this stuff is so valuable. And you become a lot more excited about the dreaded C word, because people hate content, right? People are so scared of content when they're getting into SEO because they don't want to do the work. But content, you should love content, because what we're doing right now is content, right? This video could bring hundreds of views every month, right? For hand, and it could start bringing people into my channel. So
fingers crossed,
every
man.
piece of exactly. But every piece of content you do, you're planting seeds, right? And not
Yeah.
all those seeds are going to sprout, but the ones that do, it's going to be so rewarding for you.
Whereas with an ad, once you start paying the Google money machine, that's it. All of your online presence is gone.
Yeah, you're just unplugged, boom. So that's kind of why, again, the
Yeah.
dangers of relying on one channel is can be very real. Whereas if you had SEO, and you were doing SEO alongside that pay-per-click ad campaign, you're still going to be getting
Mm,
traffic.
yeah.
So
There you go. So, I guess in summary, um, if money's tight, then try to go the pay per click route, get some fast results. If you can afford it, then definitely go for SEO, because that's gonna have way better returns long term, uh, rather than relying on pay per click all the time. Cool. All right, let's get on to the final question. Okay, I'm really interested in this one because I feel like I've been in this situation. Because you did say, like, sometimes SEO isn't the right thing to do. Um, and I've tried SEO with a couple of companies, and sometimes I'm like, you know what, this just isn't working. So I'm really interested to see what your take on this particular scenario is. So some businesses operate in very, very niche industries with a low search volume. How do you approach SEO for these businesses? Is it just not worth it? I've come away, I've had that experience, and I've just felt myself like, well, it's not really worth it. Like, no one's searching those terms. But what's your take on it?
this is where you have to do educating your market, for lack of a better term for that. And this is something where it can be very, very expensive to do that, and very, very time consuming, because you actually have to go bigger picture, create the volume for those searches. So you have to be doing a different type of marketing. That's not my wheelhouse, so I don't have a lot of experience with that, just to be honest. But I know people who do that. I've talked to a few people on LinkedIn who do that. And from what I've heard, it is very, very expensive. Like, I'm talking tens of thousands to start getting that search traffic coming. So, to answer that question, that's in that case, I guess, because as far as I can tell, and I remember talking to a few people, they're doing SEO, but they had to actually create the demand for the content, which is then converting people. So it's kind of a lot more complicated. I think at that point, you don't need an SEO professional. You need a different type of specialist for that. So I'm sorry, I know that's not really an answer, but that's.
No, I think it's a great answer. It's basically, look, if your industry's too niche and no one's going on Google, then tough luck, pretty much. Try and see if you can maybe market yourself in another way that isn't SEO. I can kind of echo that too. Yeah. Cool. Yep. Pretty much.
Are those all the questions?
It's a bit sad. Yeah, no, that was a bit depressing, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, it's not that you're SOL, right? Like you're not just out of luck, but it's just that's something that I don't really have the expertise to comment on because all the clients and students and people that I work with are kind of in industries where people are already looking them up or want to find someone to do whatever product or whatever service. So, and that's most businesses. So it's not, but again, there's specialists that just do that thing where they kind of educate entire markets, but that's beyond my wheelhouse. So that's not something I'm qualified to talk about.
All right, no worries. Yeah, well, like I said, I've been in that scenario before, and I basically came to the same conclusion that you got to find another way to market that product or that service. Okay, cool. So I know I said the last one was the last question, but I do have one more here if you're happy to take it.
Okay, sure.
And I think it's quite important. It's quite a common one. Many small business owners get overwhelmed trying to maintain social media, reviews, their Google business profile, their website, their content, their blog. How can they efficiently manage their online presence without it just sucking up all of their time as a business owner?
Well, there's a few things, right? So first of all, understand that if you have a problem where your time is getting consistently sucked up, one of the best things you can do is outsource. The problem and the challenge for a lot of people is that it'll be a small business. They won't have a lot of money to spend on marketing. So they'll have $500 maybe, or it's tight for them, or they're taking out credit to do that, right? And then they don't realize that there are different types of marketing specialists, kind of to piggyback off of what I just talked about. For example, right, and you know this very well, I am not a social media marketing expert. I'm good at SEO. That's what I do. That's my wheelhouse. So, like, for example, right, like if you were to try to hire me for to come in and work with a business and the business owner doesn't realize that and they think, okay, we need to do PPC, we need to do SEO, we need to do social media. I see this all the time where they'll hire you and they'll expect you to do all this stuff. And you have to be honest sometimes and just be like, look, I do this. This is my specialty. And sometimes people can't afford to hire specialists and they do have to, what we talked about earlier, outsourcing to other countries, right? And sometimes that's going to cause some wasted time. That's going to cause some not so effective marketing in some areas. But if money's tight, it can be really hard for people, right? So to get back to kind of the question though of how do you juggle all that? The answer is I would pick one or two marketing methods and just do those. Like I literally my Facebook page has like 8 likes. Like I don't touch my Facebook page at all. I don't touch social media at all besides YouTube if you want to consider YouTube social media, and like I'm doing fine, right? I can pay my bills. So it kind of is like, the reality is like people will really get up in your business and say, because I've seen this, and I've seen this happen to people, you need this, and why don't you have a TikTok account, and why don't you, and it's like, the reality is that if, as long as you're getting the traffic you need and the visibility you need, you're fine. So my advice is just pick one or two traffic sources that you feel are the best fit. And one of the easiest ways to determine what those are is to ask yourself, where are my people online, right? Because different, types of businesses are going to have different clients, and not every client demographic is the same, right? If you're like a restaurant supplier, you have to figure things out. You're going to market that differently than a local barber, right? So it's one of those things where, you got to really think about it, figure out where your people are.
Okay.
That better than anyone, because you're, in that niche. The business
Yeah,
owners
yeah,
typically will, because they'll have had enough clients, hopefully, to understand who they are. And then just do that, and just have someone handle that, or you do it.
yeah.
But again, if time is tight, get a specialist to do that.
So if you got no money, then focus on one channel that isn't going to suck all your time. If you got money, then just pay someone to do it for you. Is
Yes.
what I'm saying.
Well,
Yeah.
and once you've got one channel taken care of,
Yeah.
because I always hesitate to tell people this, because I'm sure you've seen this too. People get excited about multiple marketing methods, and they just jump from thing to the next thing without ever getting good at one of them. So I want to
Yeah.
be very careful with what I'm going to say. So I'm going to say, if you've done something consistently, I would say for at least 3 to 6 months, if not a year, and that's bringing in traffic, you should diversify and not put all your eggs into one basket, and begin a second marketing channel after that time. Just so that, because I've seen this happen to people, where if you're relying on one traffic source, like
Yeah.
Google, and an algorithm update happens or something happens, and you just get just slapped down the search results,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen that just destroy people's income and business, because they have no other source of traffic. And so you have to prepare for those type of situations, and make sure
Yeah.
you don't find yourself in a situation where poof, all of your money is gone, because all of a sudden you're not showing up on one like particular website. So never just rely on one website to get your customers.
All right. Makes sense. Don't put your eggs in one basket, basically. That's a really fascinating answer. Again, I wish I could just go deeper into it, but I think we're
I know,
running
I
a
want
little
to.
bit short. Cool, man. Well, to be honest, I think that's the end of all the questions. Um, yeah, thanks a lot for coming on here, Gabe. You know, you didn't have to do this, but it means quite a lot, and my audience is gonna love this. Um, so yeah,
Thank you for
that's
having me, and I hope we were able to help people with this info, and I hope that you're better off for it.
yeah, no worries. Right, right. Do you want to have 2 to 3 minutes to talk about what you do, what your course is, and all that kind of stuff?
I hate promoting and doing sales videos. I just feel sleazy, but I'll try to
But
TLDR
by
as
the way,
quickly. Yeah.
I got to warn you. I'm not gonna cut anything out of this video. So I
Okay.
might cut
Okay.
this part out. I might cut this part out. But all right.
Well, if
Uh,
you're interested in learning SEO, that's what I do. You can find me at Local Rank Ninja, or you can look up my new course, Local SEO, or it's Master SEO Bootcamp. You can look that up and find it. And we teach business owners and digital marketers how to achieve their goals and show up in Google.
nice, nice. Uh, let's just see. All right, guys. So that is the end of our interview with Gabe. I hope you enjoyed that. And, I'll see you guys in the next one. And yeah, I really enjoyed
Peace.
these. And yeah, peace. And, Gabe, I hope you can come back, man, because you hit on some really interesting topics that I just want to go like deeper into.
100%, man. Thank you for having me.
No worries, man. All right, guys. See you in the next one. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join Gabe's course. It's legit. End recording. One sec. I'm gonna